Hi, and welcome to Screens and Focus podcast, where we share and connect as we spotlight our favorite shows and movies. I'm Diana, and today we're talking about Fear the Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 4, along with The Walking Dead World Beyond, and our recommendations on Eternals, Love Hard, In the Dark, and The Morning Show. So happy to have Debbie back with me today. How are you, Debbie?
Hi, Diana. I'm doing well.
Awesome. Good to hear it.
Thanks.
In this episode, we see Sarah, and she's looking for Wendell, her brother. And we also see Josiah seeking vengeance for his brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, man, they really kind of showcase this brotherly love in this episode. And man, they really show how strong a bond they have with their respective brothers. So it made me think about the relationships that we have with our siblings. So I wanted to know, do you have a special bond with a sibling?
I do indeed. I have a big family, 3 brothers and a sister, and 2 stepbrothers. And I actually have a special bond with each one. But probably more so with my oldest brother. He and I are pretty close. We're like 2 peas in the pod, male and female.
Oh, cool. That's so nice.
Yeah. What about you?
I, too, have 3 brothers and 1 sister. But it's funny, I was just talking with my coworkers recently, and we were talking about having children and everything. And I was thinking about how much I loved my childhood. And I told them, I think because of my parents and my siblings, it was such a good childhood. And I really loved, adored, admired all of my siblings because they were older than me. I was the baby. I came along later. And so I really, really looked up to them. My 3 brothers were really protective of me, and I really like that. And I really like that my oldest brother, he always says, "This is your big brother," and this, and even now, right? And I love that. I love that relationship with him. And of course, I was really, really close with my sister. She was like my second mom, and I loved hanging out with her. So yes, I love my siblings, and yes, I do have a very special bond with them.
Nice.
Really nice to have siblings you admire and love. Mm-hmm. So let us know what you think out there. Do you have a special bond with a sibling that you would like to share with us? If so, you can leave us a comment on Twitter at @in_screens. You can follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our website. The links are in our show notes. Okay, so Fear the Walking Dead, Season 7, Episode 4, Breathe With Me. We see a good portion of our group here, Al too, because remember we were talking about her last episode, how her name was not in the credits. So I was really happy to see that she was here. And we learn more about Sarah and her desperate search for her brother. And I'm like, finally, because I kept wondering what happened to Wendell in Season 6. So I was glad to see that they addressed it here, even though we don't see him. We meet Josiah, who is Emil's twin, who is hunting down Morgan. And we also witness, oh my God, a horrible event with Rufus that I have to say was so depressing and sad. And I am not happy about it at all. Anyways, Debbie, what did you think of this episode and what stood out to you?
Well, overall, I liked the episode. And it was so nice to see all those familiar faces. Daniel, Luciana, Athea, Al, Charlie. But the first thing I thought was, where are they and how'd they get there? And Sarah, I was a little distracted by her facial expressions, and unfortunately, they were quite annoying to me. They just seemed so odd, but anyway, she played her part well. And I really like Josiah's character. I'm really glad that they have brought him on and that they're keeping him, or at least it looks like they're going to keep him. But I don't know. He just adds a lot of strength and character to the group.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. He does. Josiah, played by Demetrius Gross, is very likable as this character. And how fun to get to play a polar opposite twin character on the same show. And because they liked you so much, they brought you back.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
I mean, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. I didn't realize he played the other brother.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So it was just so cool. Oh, and Sarah, I really did love seeing her love for her brother. I just thought it was really incredible. I love seeing the story and how much he means to her. I appreciated the dynamic between her and Josiah. Although it started off as adversarial, it changed along the way. And he wants Morgan, and she wants to find her brother. So they strike up a deal. But as they get closer to finding him, they face obstacles and end up helping each other along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, Sarah is convinced Wendell is dead. And she gets in that car and she's driving like a maniac. And Josiah's running to the car and he's hanging on and he's trying to get in and she's taken off. And it's funny because at first I thought she was waiting for him and then she was taken off. And I'm wondering what she was doing. But then she keeps yelling, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead. And then, of course, they get in that car accident. I'm thinking, I think that would have killed some people the way it landed like that. But now they're stuck in the car and she looks over and there's a warhead next to her, the one that's leaking. So then she starts having a panic attack and Josiah, it's just so interesting, but he starts to console her. So it kind of brings out his personality, right? Mm-hmm. He doesn't seem anything like his brother at all. And I really liked hearing her story about how she couldn't breathe as a baby, that she was born premature and her mother, I think she said her mother passed away.
Yeah.
And she was having trouble breathing. But every time I think they wheeled this baby next to her that was also born the same day, who happened to be Wendell, that she would start breathing. And so I get apparently either, I don't know who adopted who or in which family they went to, but somehow they grew up together. But I just thought it was a cool thing to learn about them and why she calls them twins and why this episode is called Breathe With Me.
Yeah, it was very good. I like that too.
Yeah, so it was very cool. Yeah. What else stood out to you in this episode, Debbie?
Well, I was happy to see Rufus back, albeit his last show.
Oh,
I know. But, and then I guess I was a little conflicted with Sarah. I mean, first of all, you're in the apocalypse. Her brother's in the wheelchair. And I don't know how he could last or survive. And yes, it was sad when we saw the wheelchair, but for her, I just thought she overreacted the thought that he might be dead. Because 9 months had gone by or a kind of a few months. I don't know. It just threw me. I just didn't care for how it seemed like she overreacted with him. But anyway.
Her reaction to it.
Yeah. And then I still think Josiah's a badass.
He is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking back about her reaction to him. And, things stick out to people and how people grieve and what people will do. But even with her having that panic attack in the car, I think it just goes to show you how much she feels she needs him and how much of an extension of her brother is a part of her.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I think probably seeing that wheelchair, and I don't know if you thought she was overreacting to anybody's reaction or if you're talking about her acting job of overreacting.
Good
so
point.
I'm not sure which one didn't fit
resonate with me.
What didn't sit right with you. But I have a feeling it was probably her and her portrayal rather than
the
how
idea.
Somebody would react. Because, you lose a
point.
Sibling or any family member, anybody that's important to you, it could really tear you up.
I'm just like freaking cold.
No,
man.
you're not. You're not at all. I know you. So.
I'm hardened to the world. What about you?
Well, I want to say, oh my God, Strand is such a jerk.
Yes.
So they finally make it to his location, and he tells Sarah that Wendell is there and thriving. But I do want to say about that, I wondered because he hesitated before he said that. So I'm like, is he really there? Are you just pretending like he's there? Are you using this knowledge, or is he really there? But let's just say he's there. Strand says that Sarah was against him previously, so she is not welcome there. But she wants to see her brother. And then he says, if he comes out, he can't come back in. This is not a revolving door.
Yeah, that was odd.
So she makes a tough decision for her, and she begs Strand not to tell Wendell that she was there because he will go look for her. And he takes such delight in telling Sarah and Josiah that Morgan, Grace, and Momo are barely getting by. He's so annoying. And I liked that Josiah comforts Sarah and says that she did what he couldn't do, meaning that she let her brother go so that he could live a better life.
Yes.
And she gives him the pills that will help with the radiation exposure.
Yeah, I liked that she offered him those as well.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. What other thoughts or tidbits do you have, Debbie?
Well, one scene popped into my mind when you had mentioned the crash. You know, Josiah's a big dude, and she's driving and she's panicking, and how is she able to reach across him and open the door and keep control that little bit? And he was fumbling and didn't knock her aside. I just thought, okay, guys, that's a little far-fetched. But anyway, of course they had to crash, so that's why they did all that. And like you had mentioned earlier too, when they were in the after the crash and having their conversation, it was pretty intense and very touching. And I really liked the conversation with the both of them. I loved how Sarah calls Morgan Momo.
Yeah.
I just love that nickname. Yeah. I just thought it was so cute.
Yeah.
And then when they were having the conversation with Strand, his sidekick, he's all military now, and and I'm like, oh, this guy is just too funny. He's really engaging with his role as a Strand sergeant.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that guy collecting walkers, that was bizarre.
Oh, yeah.
That was such an odd thing.
Yeah.
And then he takes Wendell's chair and leaves him to crawl?
Yeah.
Like what? He wanted that chair so bad. Why?
Yeah.
That was so bizarre to me. Why he would, if a guy's in a wheelchair, wouldn't you just say, okay, let him see how far he can get? But no, you're going to take his chair and let the poor guy fend for himself. It was just so bizarre.
It's a sick world.
Yeah. And, when Morgan and Josiah first meet up, Morgan says, I killed you. I cut your head off. And Josiah says, Morgan Jones, which is interesting because they said that historian guy said it to him when they were on the sub. So it's just becoming this trend of how you say Morgan's name, which I thought is so funny. And I so want to know where Alicia is at. I'm like, where is she?
Yeah, good point.
I'm dying. And Morgan tells Sarah at the very end, we're going to get everybody back, Sarah, and then get ready for what happens next. But I just thought that was kind of interesting. I'm like, what's happening next? I don't know. He'll figure it out.
They got to find a place to live first.
I know, for sure. Okay, Debbie, we are at our segment, and the award goes to. So I want to know, what was your favorite quote, character, or moment?
Well, it wasn't my fave, but when Rufus got bit. And I'm so glad they didn't make it brutal or gross or really, really sad. I'm sure they knew it was going to upset a lot of people. Yeah. But boy, when he got that little nip and he went, and then we knew.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I'm kind of glad they kind of quickly went through the scene. And then I loved how he put the can of beans on his grave.
Yeah.
But it was so sad. That was my moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? What was your favorite moment?
Actually, it's the same. That whole segment. I would say it's my favorite moment and also my worst moment. Josiah fights with Morgan.
Oh, yeah, I hated that.
And as he has him pinned down, he pulls out Emil's walker head to bite Morgan and kill him. But Morgan gets the upper hand and pushes Josiah and Emil's head away. I know, it is funny as we talk about it, right?
Yeah.
And then, oh God,
I know.
God, it kills me. But Rufus runs toward the head and yelps, and I hated it. And right then, Josiah begins wailing, "What have I done?
Yeah.
What have I done?" And he's crying and he's crying and he cradles the dog. Okay, I just lost it right then. That he was so broken.
Yeah.
He loves that dog. And he says Rufus saved his life twice, and now he has to take his. It was such a heartbreaking moment.
Yes.
But at the same time, I liked his reaction. It
yeah.
made me appreciate Josiah so much more, that something like that could totally flip the switch for him, be enlightened, realize the path that he should be on. So I really do like everything that transpired for him after that. Oh, man. All these episodes have been really good, and I have been so happy with them. And I can't wait to see what happens with Dwight and Sherry. And I'm dying to see what happens with Alicia.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay, so that wraps up our conversation on Fear the Walking Dead. On The Walking Dead World Beyond, Season 2, Episode 6, Who Are You? Felix and Huck hatch a plan to get into the lab, and they think they only have 2 minutes, but it ends up they only have 1.5 minutes. And Felix gets locked in and is almost frozen by the time he gets out. And I have to tell you, I was freezing along with him because the shot kept coming back to him and he seemed colder and more frost on him. And he kept trying to radio Huck. And I'm like, oh my God, the poor guy's going to freeze to death.
Yeah, it was great.
But he does still steal a vial from the lab. And I think it's pretty important. And we also find out that Jadis and Huck are old acquaintances, and Jadis shares that she gave something valuable to the CRM to earn her way in and her ranking.
Is that Rick?
I know, right? I can't help but think it was. It has to be. But I swear to God, I like hang on all these moments.
Yes.
I'm like, how much closer are we going to get to Rick? When? Oh, man. And then Iris sends a Morse code update to Elton and Will saying they will be delayed, which prompts Will to head to the CRM. Dev goes with him, but during their travels, they are spotted and Dev is shot in the head. I was shocked and bummed because I like Dev and I did not see it coming.
Yeah.
What did you think of this episode, Debbie?
Well, I think this episode is a real awakening for everybody, including Huck or Jennifer. I guess now they're going by both names.
I know.
And the dad, he's stepping up. And I believe the dad is going to be a key role in guiding the crew going forward. And then Jadis is back and with her crazy hair. And it looks like they're going to start a war or something. And it is fun watching Huck step up. And I love the relationship with Huck and her husband. Some scenes he's really hot looking and other scenes he's kind of weird, but but I like their relationship, and I like that he doesn't really know what's going on.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah. So that kind of adds a little bit of fun. So,
yeah, it does. So that wraps it up for The Walking Dead World Beyond. Debbie, what else are you currently watching?
Well, there's a Netflix show. It's called In the Dark, and it's there's a really hot chick named Murphy, and she's blind, but she's also a sex fiend.
Wow. Okay.
But she's extremely good looking and just finds herself in all kinds of many escapades, and she's an actual crime solver. So it's just, it's entertaining. It's fun, and she's hilarious. And so, if you want to just enjoy some kind of slapstickish comedy and a sleuthing by a blind woman who likes sex, you should take a peek at it. But as the seasons move on, it actually gets pretty intense and a little bit more serious, but I enjoy that.
Cool.
And then there's a movie. It's a new one on Netflix, and it's a holiday love movie. It's called Love Hard, but it's actually pretty funny. It's this woman who's a writer goes on one of those online dating sites and, gets to know the guy, and they share pictures and talk on the phone. Well, over the holidays, she flies to meet him in person and surprises him. So it's very funny. Yeah.
Okay.
But I recommend it if anybody who likes, those funky Christmas love stories.
Yeah, that sounds very cool.
Yeah. What about you? What are you watching?
I had mentioned this previously that I'm watching the morning show on Apple TV, but I had to mention it again because season 2 has had some shocking things happen. And although it's going kind of all over the place, I'm really liking it. I'm just along for the ride. And Steve Carell plays Mitch Kessler, and something very pivotal happens with his character, and I just can't spoil it, but it was huge that I was thinking to myself is, who's watching this? I have to touch base with them because this is just crazy what happens to his character. But Reese Witherspoon is in this TV series. Jennifer Aniston, Juliana Margulies is just in season 2. She just started. Billy Crudup is in this. Just a lot of other really great actors are in this. And it is about a television show and about sexual harassment and the Me Too movement and cancel culture and all these things. So, and just the inner workings of how a morning show is put on. So I'm just really enjoying the ride. Of course, I'm always watching my reality shows, and I don't mention them because I watch them every week, but I'm enjoying The Voice. I love it because I love hearing great singers.
Oh, yeah. I like The Voice.
Yeah, and I love hearing the coaches and what they have to say. I watch Dancing with the Stars. I love the music that they dance to. They just recently danced to Queen, and then this week was Janet Jackson. So it's been really fun watching them. I also watched Survivor, and this season is, there's so many things that everybody is expecting from the game that they normally have, but they put all these twists in there and they're not expecting them. I watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, all the drama that goes on with all those housewives. And I watch Project Runway because I love seeing these people just given a time span and here, just make this and you get this much money to spend and just make these avant-garde outfits or streetwear, whatever it is. So I just love all my reality shows. So I just wanted to mention that I do watch all of those along with everything else that we recommend here.
That's the fantasy side of you.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. I went to the theater.
Hey.
And I watched Eternals, a Marvel film about, if you don't know, they're immortal aliens, the Eternals.
Well, I got to watch this.
They're out to protect humans from their ancient counterparts, the Deviants. It's a star-studded cast. It's co-written and directed by Chloe Zhao, who is an Oscar-winning director. She did Nomadland. I love that Kit Harington, who played Jon Snow on Game of Thrones, plays a small role here as a human. But he may possibly play a recurring role in the future. And Richard Madden also is in this movie, who played Game of Thrones Robb Stark, who is an Eternal, and they are both in love with Cersei, which is funny because Cersei, the name, is also in Game of Thrones, but it's spelled differently here. This Cersei is played by Gemma Chan, and she's really good at her role. If you are a Game of Thrones fan, you get all of this connection, which is so cool. If not, watch this movie anyway, because it's very entertaining. I really enjoyed it. Salma Hayek is in it. Angelina Jolie is in it. And Lauren Ridloff is in it, who plays Connie in The Walking Dead. So it's really good. Now, people are out there saying this is the least, out of all the Marvel films, this is at the bottom. I think that's a bad rap. I really do. I do not agree with it. I like this. Yes, it's different. than the other Marvel films, but it's just a different story, a different perspective. So, go watch it. It's great. It's part of all MCU. So I would just highly recommend people go watch it and have your own opinion on it.
Sounds great.
Yes. Well, thank you, Debbie. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining me and your recommendations. I can't wait to watch some of the things that you have recommended.
You're welcome.
That's our show. Thanks for tuning in. We are grateful you tuned in, and we hope something that we said today resonated with you, gave you a chuckle, some happiness, some positivity, or inspiration. Please subscribe to our website and follow Screens and Focus and tell a friend. We would love more members of our TV club. You can rate and review the podcast on Apple, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. This will help other listeners find us. We'll be uploading new episodes in a couple of weeks. Next show will be on Fear the Walking Dead, Season 7, Episodes 5 and 6. Can't believe we're already here, Debbie. Yeah. 5 and 6. You can find our website listed in our show notes. We'll see you next time. Bye.